Pirates! This is Dylan from Yakamoto, and today we have My Locals Adventure Episode 3. The original one became irrelevant after that freak ban list because I was playing Ace, and now we are rolling with my new leader for set 5, which is going to be Red Purple Luffy. So without further ado, this is my deck list. I looked up a couple variants of the deck, and I settled with this list by Cardi Kaizoku in one of his testing videos. If you haven't heard of him, he's an OPTCG content creator and is one of the best rappers I've ever seen. He has a fun and unique way of presenting deck breakdowns, and I learned a lot from him in his gameplay commentaries. The link to his channel will be in the description below. On to the deck itself. The idea of the deck is to ramp as fast as possible using cards such as Zorojuro and Bart, and then playing your big boys to close the game. We have multiple searchable 2K counters as well as jet gattling to make our big bodies and non-counters into counter. Alright, no more distractions, let's get right into the gameplay. Alright, so game 1 we're playing against my very good friend and teammate Cristo. He's playing Sakazuki while I'm playing Red Purple Luffy. Keep in mind this is still both of our first official tournament playing these decks, so we're a little bit, still learning. But yeah, so turn 1 I pass over to him, I have no plays. Turn 2 Sakazuki already has plays, he pitches 1 and draws 1 and plays Navy HQ. He passes back to me and I play Zorojuro after swinging for 6. That's my first mistake of the game because after playing against a couple Sakazukis now, I realized that Zorojuro is almost never going to stay on board to get the ramp effect. It's almost always going to get Hound Blazed, and it gives them the opportunity to swing for 8, which is exactly what happens here. I take the 8 because 8k that early in the game don't really have the counter to be able to counter for it yet. And now I know it's better to just keep Zorojuro as a 1k counter into Sakazuki. So for my turn, I then play Nami, search the 10 drop Luffy, which is good because now I have endgame and I do already have a Rad Beam in hand. So I swing for 9 and keep 1 up for the now live Rad Beam because I only have 2 life. Pass back over to him. He swings for 6 and he drops the Sabo, first one of the blockers, and he pitches 2 Hinas, which is an amazing pitch because both of those Hinas will be recycled by Rebecca later on in the game. He passes back to me, and because Zorojuro was not able to ramp, I'm only at 7 Dawn, and if Zorojuro was able to stick on board and give me 1 turn of ramp, I would be at 9 right now, which would be huge. I would be able to drop 9 beard. So instead what I do is I swing for 7 with Nami, swing 7 with leader, leave 1 up for Rad Beam. I'm just trying to rush him down right now so that my 10 drop Luffy that I just searched is going to be very effective because it grants me 3 attacks off the bat. And yeah. Pass back over to him, he uses brand new, kills my Nami, and he drops double Borso and passes back to me. I'm now at 10 Dawn, and I make the second biggest mistake of the game. I would say this is the biggest mistake I made, and it's to drop the 10 drop Luffy after using my leader Luffy's effect already. And because of that, I'm not able to ramp with leader Luffy, and this puts me at, instead of being at 5 Dawn on my second free turn, I am only at 3. And that makes it so that I'm really behind now, and if I lose my board, which you'll see in a little bit I do, it becomes really tough for me to come back. So I swing for 7, he takes it, which I think that's a mistake right there as well, but I swing for 12. I think he should have blocked out of both of those, because now he puts himself in death range or in kill range of Diable Jambe or a Rush Luffy. If he had kept that 1 life up and just let the Borso die, I think that it would have been okay. He would be surviving a little bit better right now, or in the later half of the game. But yeah, so like I said earlier, Sakazuki just has so much free value, with Navy HQ, with leader effect and whatnot. Ice Age, 1 cost -5. He's able to just easily remove my 10 drop Luffy, and if he had that 1 life right now, he would be in an amazing position because he's not going to die to a Rush Luffy. He has 10 blockers on board. He's not afraid of anything. But because he doesn't have that 1 life, he puts himself in range of a Diable Jambe swing 11, or later in the game, if he's not able to kill me, I can drop Rush Luffy swing 11 as well. And so yeah, now because I'm worried about his blockers, I need to start depleting his hand size. I swing for 8 at him. He drops double 2Ks, which, man, I think right there he should have blocked as well, because now he's still in a position to die to Diable Jambe or a Rush Luffy. And I leave 2 Donna for double Rad Beam that I have in my hand. And I just need to survive until 10 Dawn because I do have a second 10 drop Luffy in hand if I decide to play it. So now he is at his 10 Dawn turn, and he swings at me for 6 with brand new. I think he didn't need to do that. I think it would have been better to try and get that rad beam out of my hand by swinging 9 with Lucci, and then dropping the Borso if you really wanted to drop the Borso. But he could have just split the Dawn between the 10 and then just gone like 10, 11 into my life. And I think that that would have been pretty strong as well. But yeah, so I play another Nami because he bottom decks the previous one. Looking for a Diable Jambe or a Rush Luffy. Fortunately, don't find it again. So I just swing for 10 at his life, leave 2 Dawn up for my Rad Beam. He blocks with Borso, and then I pass over to him. He then drops the brand new searches, and now he needs to be swinging high. He needs to deplete my hand. He needs to be a little bit more aggressive. And here he swings for a really awkward 9, which is in perfect range of my Rad Beam. I think here he needed to swing for 10. And then he swings for 8 with the Lucci. I think if he was going to do this, he should have just swung 8 off the bat with Borsalino, force something to happen, and then swing 10 or something like that with Lucci, and then he could do what he does right now with the Hound Blaze. But yeah, I basically just take it. I end up getting the Rush Luffy out of life, which is fantastic, but just in case, I do want to look for the Diable Jambe because it guarantees the kill. Fortunately, don't find it, but I do get another Rad Beam, and so what I need to do here is deplete some of his resources. So I'm going to go for a 6k swing with Leader to see what he's going to do. If he drops something out of his hand, then he's guaranteed dead. And then if he uses a blocker, it's fine as well. And then here, I'm just going to drop the Rush Luffy and swing for 10, which seals the game. And that is the end of game 1. Moving on to match 2. I end up getting matched against a second Sakazuki, and after playing that first game, I am a lot more well versed in this matchup. I choose to go second after winning the dice roll, make him go first. He has his turn 1 play of pitching the Lucci out of his hand and drawing 1. Me, as a red player, I gotta have double Nami. My turn 2 consists of playing double Nami, searching for a 10-drop Luffy so that now I have a late game play, as well as getting a 2k counter in usohachi to my hand. Now I feel a little bit more protected, and I'm confident that my endgame is going to be very strong. He ends up swinging at me for 6. I don't have any 1k counters at this point, so I take the life, and he plays brand new, searches for the Great Eruption. I get a zorojuro out of life, but after playing against that first Sakazuki, I know better than to play it again. So I end up swinging for 6 with my Leader, and then swinging 6 again with Nami. I end up taking 1 life out of here, as well as a 2k counter out of his hand, which is perfectly fine for me. He uses brand new, swings into my Nami, can't protect her unfortunately, and then he's going to swing 6 at my life. I don't want to take another life, so I drop a 2k counter in usohachi, and he plays the Kuzan and draws 1, passes back to me. Now I'm at the 6th Dawn turn. I want to get rid of that brand new because with the use of Hound Blaze, the brand new becomes a 6k natural swinger into my Leader. So I add 1 Dawn onto my Nami, swing for 3, then I swing 6 at his Leader, and then drop my first Rush Luffy of the game, swinging for 6 again. So I'm putting on the pressure right now because the more time that Sakazuki has to set up, the stronger he is. And I want to get him to 0 life as fast as possible so my Diable Jambe, my Luffys all become live. And if I decide to play the 10-drop Luffy, then I get 3 swings at him when he's at 0 life, and that's just a lot of pressure. So I wanna do a lot of damage as soon as I can to him right now. And now going into the 7 Dawn turn for him, he's already stuck at 2 life, which is fantastic for me. And yeah, his biggest play right here is probably going to be to get rid of my board. He does have Kuzan on board, and he was able to make it stick, so he uses Kuzan effect to bring my Luffy all the way down to 1. That puts him in range of just about anything in his deck, a Hound Blaze, a Lucci, whatever. I think that Red-Purple Luffy definitely has a better Sakazuki matchup than Purple Luffy, which is what I was testing at the beginning of the format. Purple Luffy just feels terrible into Sakazuki because all these big bodies you're playing on curve, they don't stay on board. But yeah, okay, so here he does use the Hound Blaze, gets rid of my Rush Luffy, and then he swings at me for 9. I drop 2 2Ks because I don't want to go underneath 2 life right now. I need to be healthy for the late game. And then he drops a Borso and he passes turn. I am at 8 Dawn now. I use my Luffy effect and then go to 9. And then I swing at him for 8. And in my hand, I have a second unblockable Luffy. So what I plan on doing here is to swing 8, see what he does, and then swing 8 again unblockable, which was perfect because if he had countered for the first one, it wouldn't have made the second one as good, or if he had blocked the first one. But luckily, he takes the first one, and then I drop the Rush Luffy with 2 Dawn up, making it unblockable by his Borso, and he has to take the second one too. So now I'm sitting really pretty in a position where if my Rush Luffy does not get removed this turn, then he loses, or if I draw into a Diable Jambe, he loses. So I am chilling right now. And for him on his side, he's probably panicking because he's at 0 life. He has to remove the Rush Luffy no matter what, because if he lets it stay, he's dead. But he's also not guaranteed protected just because he removes the Rush Luffy, because if I have another one in my hand, or if I have a Diable Jambe in hand, he still basically dies that same turn. And he knows that I have the 10-drop Luffy in hand, so that even if I don't have either of those two things, he knows that he's going to be taking 3 big swings next turn, because with 10-drop Luffy, it basically sets you up, if played correctly, unlike me the previous game, you basically swing for 7k, and then for 10k, and then 12k, all in the same turn, not including whatever bodies you have on board. So if I had a board, then I would be able to swing for 6, and I swing for 7, and then 10, and then 12, all with just 10-drop Luffy touching the board. So here he plays the Rebecca, and he recycles a 2k counter. And he's looking for a way to remove the Rush Luffy, which he does by swinging 6k into the Rush Luffy while also lowering it down to 1. I counter out of the 6k because I don't want him to get free value on it. Although in hindsight, like, it might have been better to just let it die, because we know that he's going to remove it no matter what. So him dropping Lucci would have no value here. But yeah, I just didn't want him to like deviate from whatever play he already had planned, because I know that I can survive and go for game here. So I play it correctly this time. I play the 10-drop Luffy, return all Dawn, use leader effect to ramp one, and then rest that one to ramp another one. So now I'm at 4, rest it again to ramp up again. And then I actually have the Diable Jambe in hand, so I just want to deplete some resources by swinging 6 first. He drops a 2k, which is perfect for me. I play the Diable Jambe and swing 15k at life, and that's it. Not a lot of decks can counter out of 15k, especially this late into the game. And yeah, that seals the game for game 2. Moving on to the final game of the night. Yes, it was only a 3-round locals. Most of the players right now in the area were all going to the 1-year anniversary events, and this was one of the few locals that actually had a constructed tournament, so we definitely wanted to test. But in the last round, I am playing against another one of my teammates, Alex. He is the Big Mom player that is always featured on our channel, and the last time we played on my locals adventure, he got the dub, so this time I am looking to get my revenge. Turn 1 I play Nami, pass over to him. Turn 2 he does nothing, passes back to me. Turn 3 I swing for 6, he gets a Sanji trigger out of life, and I play my Zorojuro. In this matchup, Zorojuro is insane because yellow has essentially no removal unless they want to Thunderbolt and lose a life early. So Zorojuro is going to stick no matter what, giving me that free ramp. I can also swing for 5 at his life, which he ends up taking. Or he counters out of the 5, and then I swing for 6, and then he ends up taking that. But because of that, I have also ramped up quite a bit, and now I feel really strong about my position because I know that I'm going to be getting to the 9-10 Dawn a whole turn early. I end up dropping a Rush Luffy and swinging for 6, which then he drops another 2k counter. We test against each other a lot, so I know that his deck runs a lot of 2k counters, so every 2k counter that I'm getting rid of, I feel a lot more comfortable. He ends up swinging 6k into my Zorojuro, clears that, and then out of nowhere he swings 10 into my Luffy, which clears that as well, and he passes back to me. I get to 8 Dawn, and then I ramp up to 9. And then this turn, I really just want to be able to clear his board. I think for a little bit, and I think that the best play to do is definitely to get rid of the Cracker as soon as possible, because I know I'm going to try to rush him down. So I go ahead and I swing a Humble 6 into his Cracker. I think that because he was counting my Dawn, he believed that another rush character was going to come down anyway, like a rush Luffy. So he didn't want to leave the Cracker there and waste his resources protecting it. Which, he was right, I did have another rush Luffy in hand, so I went ahead and swung for 6 with Nami into his life. Drops another 2k, and then I drop a second rush Luffy. He drops another 2k. So at this point, like, he's used up a lot of the 2ks in his hand. His hand size is definitely a lot smaller, and he is at the 8 Dawn turn. He needs to get rid of my rush Luffy as soon as possible. So he goes ahead and he clears my Nami by swinging 5 into it, drops the Katakuri, and puts rush Luffy into the bottom of my life. For me, however, I am now at 10. I drop the 10 drop Luffy and do the combo where I swing for 7 and then I ramp up to 5 Dawn. And I just want to be able to rush him down as much as possible right now, because I know that next turn he's going to his 10 Dawn turn, which means he's going to be dropping the Lin-Lins as much as possible. So I swing 7 and hoping to get a 12k swing after, but he triggers his beige, which he placed there the previous turn, or the turn before that. And now he drops his Lin-Lin, I burn a life, he gains a life, he's back at 3 to my 2. For me, in order to win here, I really have to do a lot of damage to his life, because he could easily just drop another Lin-Lin and then make my life miserable. So I go ahead and ramp 1 and attack for 7 using zorojuro. He takes the life, no trigger. And now I'm at 5 Dawn and I search with Nami. I need a little bit of defensive cards, but don't find it. Grab the Diable Jambe instead. And then here I need to get him to 0 life. So the best play for me is either to swing for 11 or swing for 9. I swing for 9 because I want to be a little bit safe and I use the counter. I leave 2 up for the counter in my hand. I believe at this point I have 1 Rad Beam in my hand. So I swing for 9 first, making him, hoping that he takes that life. Which he does, which is fantastic. And then I go ahead and swing for 13, putting him at 0 life. I think I could have easily done the same thing by just swinging 10, 12, and I think that would have been better. But I think at the time I wasn't really sure how I should be allocating my Dawn, but because I think that the 10, 12 would have been more guaranteed to get him to 0 life, while the 9 would just force him to pitch more cards. But either way, the goal has been completed, which is getting him to 0 life before he can drop the second Lin-Lin, which means that now if he decides to drop the second Lin-Lin, he's depending on a top deck life trigger that can defend him. For example, like a Brulee or something like that. And he still needs to clear my board. He swings 8 into my life, I counter out. Swings 5 into zorojuro, zorojuro can die. Honestly, as long as I have 10 drop Luffy on board, I am good to go. And then he swings 12 at my 10 drop, which I am able to easily counter out of it. And then now I'm back to 10 Dawn again. This is so insanely broken. And he is at 1 life that he had to top deck. I swing 12k, which he takes, and then I swing 16 at life, which grants me first place for the night. And that's it for my Locals Adventure episode 3. If you guys enjoyed this video, smash that subscribe button for me to get One Piece TCG content thrust straight into your YouTube feed. Don't forget to like, comment, and swing for game. Peace.
I hate you. You are all bad players. You suck. You suck. My penis is large.